wanna be okay. How can I pick up the pieces when everything breaks with every day? I'm getting older, I feel the weight up on my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me. Everything's changing, just trying to navigate. Oh, I keep on believing I'm gonna find my way with every day. I'm getting older, I feel the weight up on my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me, me, me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me.
Hello, team. What up, Wednesday? Keely Dunn, FH Umpires, and we're doing more indoor today. European Hockey Indoor Championships in Berlin this time, and we have a lot to go through. As I was watching the tournament, I picked out themes. I thought, these are the most interesting things. Weirdly enough, they're very similar to many of the topics we talked about last week, but very different situations and factors and things like that. And that is why we do what we do here on these live streams, is that we're exercising our mental muscle, going through and looking at and talking about and creating those neural pathways in our minds where we understand the rules even better. So I'm glad you're here, because it's going to be good. It's going to be fast. It's going to be no, almost no polls today. Almost no polls. Good to see you, AJ. Let me know. Nobody's complained about my audio yet, so I assume it's working. Is that what it is? Oh, wait. And I want to come back to, I don't know. Matt? Are you a Matt that I know? Are you a Matt that deserves a DJ air horn? You get one anyway. It's my favorite thing to be wrong about all that. And thank you, Mr. Good Dungeon is in the house letting me know that the audio is good. Okay, good. Something's gonna happen, but let's not get ourselves too much in a twist until it does. Here are our topics today. The big call. Search engine optimization playing there. Playing the outlet. Hitting the one timer. And our skill session this week is visualization and rehearsal. And our last topic will be playing the ball out of the air. And yes, like a lot of those things are things that we talked about. Matt, I'm really happy to welcome you. I can't wait to hear you chiming in the chat and let me know just how many drugs I'm on today. I'm just kidding. Do I make sense? Do you have questions? Do you have alternate viewpoints? What did I just do to my hair? Stop touching it. Goddard's is going to do a dance if I touch my hair again. Okay. Those are our topics. Let's just go. Let's get into it. The big call.
Going to go to a shootout at this moment. That's what it feels like. Into the circle. One opportunity. Is there a corner here? There isn't a corner. There's open play. The free hit is given against them. Martin Pellegrina feels aggrieved. The hands are on her head and the hooter goes.
I mean, I'm a little bit speechless about how this game has ended up, but it's hard to tell here from these sort of angles as to what exactly is going on. I mean, Martin Pellegrina is convinced that she had something there. But the umpires have been excellent throughout this game, and you have to trust their decision on this one.
They're going to give it.
They're giving it the corner.
They're giving the corner. They've spoken to each other. The support umpire, the Polish team are in at their bench.
They hadn't blown the final whistle?
No, they hadn't. They hadn't blown the final whistle. The umpires were consulting. That doesn't matter. It's the infringement is before the final whistle. So if the hooter's gone, that doesn't mean that the game is over. What it means is the umpires are then consulting. So they're going over to the bench to explain what the decision-making process was.
My goodness. What a final this is.
Well, in the replay, it looked like a real 50-50 between Martin Pellegrina's foot going from underneath her. So we'll go. Senger picks, finishes, wins the European Championship for Germany. It's an
Yeah, it was a thing. Oh, what is happening to my comments today? Today was going to be the day. Everything was going to work. Yeah, it was a very hectic final and big conclusion. And I think it was interesting to listen to the way that Maddie and Mace were going through the whole scenario, and you know, them admitting that the angle was very, very difficult. The angle that at least we were being shown. For whatever reason, they didn't show a replay where they had the angle at the back of the goal, because that's one that we see quite often. It's a fixed camera that doesn't move the way that this one does, and it can offer some nice replay value in many cases. Unfortunately, it wasn't there. But the other thing that I want you to pick out before we get into, you know, maybe looking at what we can look at in this scenario is just how well the umpires handled the situation. First of all, if you were the supporting umpire there, you are a up-and-coming but clearly junior umpire to your very established, very experienced colleague. By this score staying tied, as it was, the game would go to a shootout, and many umpires would look at that scenario and say, no need to get involved. Because it's not the end of the game. There's a shootout now, and, you know, that sort of thing. And I have a lot of respect for any umpire who can step up in their courage and say, this is what I saw, and help their supporting umpire that way. I also have a huge amount of respect for any controlling umpire who takes that advice on board from their colleague, has so much respect for them, regardless of their experience level, and say, okay, thank you for that explanation. Thank you for your assistance. I'm going to take that on board. The last really amazing thing about that whole thing was how Ivana, as the controlling umpire, went over to the Polish bench and had a conversation. So she could have thought, okay, I'm going to let Magali handle this because Magali's over there. Magali's table side. And, you know, hey, Magali, do you want to just go talk to them? But as the umpire responsible for that circle, she took it upon herself to have that conversation with the manager of the Polish team. And I thought that was incredibly respectful and very well done. And I've mentioned this many times on streams and in coaching sessions about your body language when you're having difficult conversations with people. Maybe they have very high tempers at the time. There's a lot of motion in the air. And the way that Ivana goes over and then she turns herself side on to the manager to have the conversation instead of walking up straight at him and being like, okay. And she had to get close to him because it's Bedlam. You know, there's all kinds of noise. Obviously, this is in Berlin. And she took that time to arrange her body language. Whether she did this consciously or unconsciously, it doesn't matter. It still really is very effective here. And she's getting close, so it makes it difficult for anybody to yell. She also turned her back on the one person who was yelling at her, or at least one of the people who were yelling at her that we could see on camera, which was one of the coaches on the staff. And in that way, she was able to control, she was able to manage that situation really, really effectively. So there are so many great things that you can pull out of this as things to implement in your umpiring practice. And I wanted to be sure that you saw that and saw it unfold mostly in, you know, real time in order to, you know, create that memory and that sort of thing. Let's see. Radis, I think you're new. It's great to have you. I'll just correct the language here. Penalty corner. There are no such things as short corners. There's never been a short corner, but certainly hasn't been a short corner for a very, very long time. We are now in 2023, and we are proud of it. It is the 21st century, and we are going to refer to hockey things in universal hockey terms. So, penalty corner. And in your opinion, it was a penalty corner. And what we'll work through now is... Oh, shit. I can always count on Rachel to catch every little slip up. 2024. That's right. I mean, it's only February, halfway through. Whatever. Okay, let's get into it, Joel, because you're starting to ask who the penalty might be against and that sort of thing. So let's have a look at this. And I'm going to slow this. I'm going to slow this down so everything is very slowed down. So we've got a couple players here who could be involved. What is going on? I wanted this pen to be my pen. Is that going to work? Yes. Okay. So we have 17 involved. We have 20. We have 21, all from Poland there. Okay, and we can look at it here even more slowly as it's getting drawn. No, that doesn't give us right from the beginning, but I do want to see it from the beginning. This is a very, very complex play. There are, in my view, 3 separate things that could grab our attention. The first being the reception of the ball. Okay. German attacker being marked very, very closely here by her defender. And then we have this motion here, backing into her space. In some contexts, you might see that as being a stick shield or even a body shield if you see that this right leg of the German defender is blocking the stick of the Polish defender to come in. Now, a lot of that depends on, you know, a lot of, you know, the speed of it, how much disadvantage, how much distance. I slow this down and it looks really clear, but in real time, I bet nobody was thinking about a stick or a body shield in this case. Okay. And then we have this defensive motion here. So the Polish defender is really standing around. She's right down in there. And I know this feeling as an indoor defender that I will sometimes choose to get extremely close to my player. I will be, especially if they back into me a little bit, I'll be like, okay, I am right here. You're not going to push me away. I've claimed this space, all this kind of thing. So you can see this first motion here is potentially being a body obstruction by the defender as well. And then the attacker extricates herself from that. And then we have this motion here. You can see the Polish defender's right elbow arm comes out and makes contact with the German player, Not super detrimental at that point, but was that enough to knock her off stride? And that's the number 20 that Jolt mentions. Okay. And then even after that, I think I can show you a little more clearly here. We've got another defender hopping into the picture here, who then reaches out. And if we can see this, we might have seen, don't know, but there could have been a stick obstruction from behind, reckless as to the result, and even more. And when I say even more, I mean, hey, that could have been a penalty stroke. So much going on there. Okay. Oh, Ben, you were there in the hall and you saw that. That's really awesome. Okay. And yes, as Rachel has pointed out, Casper, there is no video umpire, not video ref. It's video review, or it's a video umpire doing the video review. It's not a video ref. We are not football. Please help me out here, everybody. Words matter. And so that's the situation we have. The biggest thing that we can all appreciate here is that we have one angle, and we only see one angle, and we miss a lot of the story. So I haven't seen if there's anything out there on social media. Maybe I don't have a lot of Polish hockey in my social media, and I haven't seen fans or coaches or experts coming out and laying a lot of questions in here. But I think there are 3 reasonable decisions here. And without having what I think is the best angle, which to me would be the angle if I were to, sorry, if I come back to this, hopefully this is going to come up in a second. It's not. Okay, let me do it this way. So I'm a big fan of an umpire being in their happy place around here in these situations. I see this as being an optimal spot to be. I think you get a better view of the potential stick obstruction, and as everything goes along, you then might see the elbow that comes out here, and you might then have a different angle on that. I don't know which of the 3 decisions would be the best decision in this case, because our camera angle is bad, but I think that it would have been even more effective for the umpire to be on the inside there, if that helps. Okay, and let's go back to this. And let me see more of you were part of the technical officials team. Congratulations, Ben. Nice to have an FAH or a European technical officer or official with us. And I look forward to hearing you, give us a little more information as to things that maybe I'm misconstruing or not understanding. That's great. No, this isn't a rant. This is just something that I really think that we have to appreciate. So it's part of the whole package there. What I like, MMC here. Hello. That we do, this is a great point, we do have to be attuned to how much time is left on the clock. Because if we decide that there is advantage on a foul that occurs earlier, and then we are allowing that to play out, and the player doesn't have the time opportunity to put that ball in the net or earn the thing, then we're depriving them of the full effect of that advantage. They don't have the opportunity. They need both possession and opportunity. They don't have the opportunity because there's not enough time left. And it's true that you can go back and you can award fouls for incidents that happened before the expiry of time, but you shouldn't be using that as a crutch to make an advantage decision and then go, oh, I was wrong. I'm going to go back to the foul that happened 3 fouls ago. Okay. And Matt, would be interesting to know why the controlling umpire gave a free hit defense. It could have been for physical contact. It could have been for 3 points of contact on the ground, that the ball was played while the attacker was lying on the pitch, which is the correct way to refer to it, not as 3 points of contact, but that helps. Okay, so I'm interested in seeing what you all have on this. My gut, after reviewing all of these things in ridiculous slow motion, freeze frame, circling, outlining, is that a penalty corner is a very reasonable decision for the first or even the second foul on this. So the number 20 is Jolt outlined. So let's see if anybody voted. We do have a vote for a penalty stroke. That is not unexpected. I need to fix that. Okay. And we have 5 people voting for the penalty corner and not a clue. I have so much respect for anybody who picked up that vote because I think that's completely fair. And that's one of the things that we need to be able to do when we're examining these situations, is say, well, I'd look for this, I'd want to be at this angle, I'd be respecting the time that's on the clock and all these things. But here, from what I can see, I can't see. So I don't have a clue. So thank you for the 2 of you who went up that. Could I show the clip till communication between umpire and coach, please? So you want to see the part where
Going to go to a shootout at this moment. That's what it feels like. Into the circle. What
where
opportunity
Maggie and Ivana were speaking, or you want to see the play? I don't understand.
Martin Pellegrina feels aggrieved.
Good to see you.
The hands are on her head and the hooter goes.
I mean, I'm a little bit speechless about how this game has ended up, but it's hard to tell here from these sort of angles as to what exactly is going on. I mean, Martin Pellegrina is convinced that she had something there, but the umpires have been excellent throughout this game, and you have to trust their decision on this one.
They're going to give it.
They give it the corner. Wow.
They've spoken to each other to support umpire.
So MMC, if you're looking for a yellow card for a deliberate breakdown of play, I think you'd be making a tough argument to claim that that's outside the circle. Therefore, it's inside the circle. If there is a yellow card to be given, then it's a penalty stroke. End of story.
My goodness.
And then the other thing that I would ask on that is why a 4-minute yellow card? Because if there hasn't been a single card for a breakdown play before this, why does that have to be 4 minutes? The impact on the play is like within seconds. Like, just because it's that late doesn't mean that if it was 1 minute left, it's a 2-minute yellow card. And then if there's 1 second left, it's a 4-minute yellow card. That doesn't equate. Not that it matters in a real practical sense, but I don't see the problem. It was outside the first. No, that's inside. So the foul isn't on the approach or the reception. It's as she's trying to turn and gets around her, and that clearly happens inside the circle. So, okay. I know that doesn't give a real sense of finality like I usually like to do, and there's very few occasions in this world where we pull up a clip and I go, I don't know. But some of that was due just down to the production and the direction and how we didn't see other angles and that sort of thing. That's one of the reasons that I use high quality footage, so that we have the opportunity just to sort of see better, so that we can see a fuller representation of the scenario, so we can apply the facts to what we understand and know about the rules. Okay? Excellent. Let's move on to our next topic. playing the outlet. Wow, there's a lot. There's a lot on this one.
Great ball.
Goalkeeper out, opportunity
Oh,
save.
I tell you what, she's got away with that one, Hester Smet. It was far from an ideal clearance off that first kind of, well, it wasn't really a save, she just needed to get rid of it, and I think she was totally unaware of the creeping Spanish forward. Great ball.
So, I don't know why this was a surprise to the Spanish attacker. I'm befuddled. Maybe they don't have the rules being properly enforced in their indoor leagues. I don't understand, but this is a very, very classic trapping situation where, okay, let's see if I can get everything pulled up here. As you lot are watching, I will pull this up to a okay. Absolutely classic trapping situation with two defenders. Hi, Mikkel. Good to see you. You're not gonna like one of my clips later. I'm just gonna just get prepared, okay? But I'm glad you're here. It's nice to have you for sure. So classic trap with two players who are offering the outlet across the goal. And the briefing is very clear, and the umpires have been very clear about how they have been enforcing this rule, that out is out. And this third attacker is not going to be entitled to cut off that outlet pass exactly the way that she does. That's Mikkel. There. It's MP right there. Okay. What did she say? Like what did she actually try to I mean, I guess you could say that, but why? That really shouldn't be that necessary. Oh, and I'm totally, I don't know what's happening with my everything's disappeared off my screen. What if I just do this for a second and figure out? Camera D is not responding. Okay. Fun. Right? So, very classic call. Guess what? Things are going to get a lot harder right about now.
Where's the outball? Spain just have to be really careful that they give the outball. That's a foul, surely. Across the circle.
So it gets more complex here in that we have the players are shifting. And as I raised some points last week about things that I'm not super big of a fan of in the entire trapping decision universe, we have an extended play here where two defenders, and they're defenders because they don't have possession of the ball. So we have two Spanish defenders here who were on the trap. The ball is given back to the outlet, which is fairly done. And then the trap slowly, but it does emerge again, where these two players are now forming the trap in the corner. So what needs to happen is that this outlet ball should go. But for whatever reason, this player decided not to deliver that pass. Given how the Spanish player was behaving, it didn't go. So there's a few things there that are just really difficult to parse out. Do I think in this instance that we had an issue with this third defender coming over and cutting off this outlet? Yes. Did this Czech player make it harder because she didn't actually pass the ball out of the outlet? Yes. But this is the problem. must they pass? Can they dribble out of the outlet? At what point can they be tackled if they dribble out of the outlet? It's kind of difficult. Matt, you're new to indoor umpiring. Welcome. Let me pull up your comment again. Sorry. Does the umpire need to? It's not a requirement in the rule. And what's interesting about this whole outlet thing is that this isn't in the rules of hockey. This is in the briefing. This is in the briefing. And every year they issue a new briefing and they expand or change, shift the wording, show different examples. This is a very quickly changing area of indoor rules, which makes it very hard on everybody. It's hard on the umpires to keep up and to get enough reps in actually enforcing these things. And think about how you get good at stuff. You see lots of instances of it and you make decisions and you go, oh, whoops, I kind of screwed that one up, or oh no, I nailed that one. That's great. You're giving yourself feedback as to your own accuracy, or you get the feedback about your accuracy from others, maybe. If the criterion keeps shifting on you, where are you going to get all the reps from? If every season you go out and you get your one European tournament and everything's changed, that makes it really challenging. So I want to, you know, sort of set that out and respect that for all of the umpires who try to deal with this. Also very hard on the players, also very hard on the coaches because they don't pay attention. So it's gotten very good. Casper, is there a conflict with 11.7? No coaching in the rule book? Absolutely frickin' not. This argument that when umpires speak proactively to players, that constitutes coaching, I think is the biggest pile of bullshit. I just don't agree. We are telling them what they can do in order not to be in breach of the rules. It's up to them to do what they want to do. And then we penalize them appropriately. So if they don't use the outlet and we've told them about the outlet and help them out with that, then we penalize them. End of story. But it doesn't disadvantage the other team. It's not knowledge that you're not giving to the other team. Everybody knows where the outlet has to go. Absolutely everybody. So no, I don't accord with that. Mamek, it's weird Hockey Australia Nationals, you're encouraged to force them to take the outlet. Yeah, you do. And let me show you more clips to sort of back that up. Yeah, it's Indoor Hockey's Day. It's Indoor Hockey's Day today. Feel the love. Feel the love for indoor hockeys.
Clever, but a little bit hopeful. That reverse spin around the feet for Charme staying close.
The ball's on, she can get it out.
Charme drop.
So, spoiler alert, this is the encouragement to, this is forcing them to take the outlet, basically. So so number 2 in red there was being instructed, or she needed to know that she needed to take that outlet that was back. So let me see if I can pull up the annotation here. Okay. So when this defender falls back here, she is now the outlet, and that's where the ball needs to go. And the ball carrier chooses not to take that outlet, and that is when the free push against gets awarded. Okay, makes sense?
Really good touch, good goalkeeping, controlled goalkeeping as Marta Kacharska comes off the line. Spain have to give Bolchak the out ball. She plays it off the boards. It's the infield threat. Can't go that way. Rodriguez denying that outlet.
Corner.
That's been given as a penalty corner.
So she's saying that she has to play it out.
Yeah, well, no, she's saying she shielded it basically. That there's no attempt to allow an opponent to play that ball I understand what's been said. However, that's not what's been blown at any time through the course of this tournament. So to me, if you don't like that as an umpire, if it's a different interpretation, you find a time to tell the players that that's what you're not going to accept.
Are we ready? It could be. If I push the button, is it gonna... It's gonna be a mess. But... Oh, sorry. So, once this clears off the screen, I'm gonna be able to tell you one of my first rants of the week. Let's see, is that gonna disappear? Oh my gosh. I'm ruining everything. Okay. So... Although I understand the perspective, I'm just gonna have to do this mechanically. My buttons are all a mess. I'm a mess. Where's my rant of the week? There we go. Sorry. There goes my perfect record today. The thing is that this is an absolutely spot-on correct decision by Mishi. She kind of knows what she's doing. And at this point in the tournament, the player also needs to understand what they're doing. And if this hasn't been properly enforced throughout the rest of the tournament, that is one thing. But do you think an umpire of Mishi's experience, stature, accuracy level, and ability in indoor should then say, well, everybody else was messing it up, so I should too? No. It's not how she rolls. That's not why she's one of the best in the world. She's going to make the correct decision. So a lot of people ask me about whether they should, well, I'm umpiring with, you know, a group that are a level below me, they have less experience and that sort of thing, and they're struggling to do that thing. Is it fair to the players? And I say, well, is it fair to the players to not enforce the rules properly? When disadvantage occurs and you know it's disadvantageous, is it fair to everybody else? Is it fair to the other team? Is it fair to the other however many players on the pitch, the other 11 players on the pitch, to not make the correct decision? Is it fair to everybody else? Are you leading the way into understanding about what the correct decision is if you don't take it? You can do these things with empathy. You can be proactive and communicate despite any directive from 11.7 to not coach, but you can be proactive as to what you want to see and what the players are at risk of. But at the end of the day, you have to make the right decisions. I don't know what that is. Yeah, she didn't attempt to pass, and that's why she got penalized. Was that not understood? If I messed that up, the defender looked like they were blocking at times. So this kind of goes back to the very first clip, right, where Mikal made the right decision and, you know, made that call. If you're seeing a team that's not properly giving the outlet, what do you do as an umpire? Do you expect the team in possession of the ball to play essentially into what is the cutoff outlet and then penalize? But as the team in possession, are they going to have a high trust level that that's exactly what they should do because you're going to make the right call? I can understand that at this point, that defender's going, well, I'm not going to throw that ball. She's not giving me a stick length, which is what she's required to do. And she keeps sneaking and she keeps, you know, bumping up. So what we might see evolving is more of a, if you don't get out of that space and if you keep intimating as a defender that you're going to cut into that space, you're going to interfere with the outlet, you're not going to let the out be out, that you're going to get penalized without the ball even being played in that direction. Is that the way we're going to go? This rule is just effed. Like, it's just so, it's so hard. It's so hard. Okay? Last
You're
one.
on the ball, you're almost looking at it, and if you can see 3 pairs of opponent's socks in front of you, you just run. Just
Run
go
through 'em.
go forward, run straight through those socks because they're within a metre. They can't touch you, and you've then broken that line, and there must therefore then be a 2-on-1.
Yeah. I think she's got to give this ball.
We've seen that exact thing we've seen given as penalty corners because the defender isn't giving the opponent any opportunity to actually play that ball. While the ball's moving, it's moving between their feet and therefore essentially creates obstruction. That's the goal. Player was moving, the press wasn't set. You're looking at me quizzically and I have no answer, genuinely, because it's what constitutes a press in this instance. Has the player got to be given a clean channel out? And if they're given a clean channel out, are you allowed to hang a stick into that channel?
Well,
I thought not.
I thought you weren't.
I would like your thoughts, because this is one of the more difficult plays to parse out. So let me come into this screen here. So the first question is this a trap at this point with the 2 players? It doesn't seem to be coming up effectively entirely on. There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. So is this a trap? Are these 2 players close enough? Are they cutting off a space? Would this player, for example, be able to spin out and slip the ball in between them, for example? Or especially just right off this angle here. And let me slow this right down so we can see all the different... Okay, that might be a little too slow. Okay, then this defender backs off. Okay, so she's still moving the ball. The way we see this on camera, it looks like there isn't a trap. But is there? Now she dribbles this way. Now we definitely have a trap. So where is the outlet? And then the second defender bounces off again. Goes, oh, don't want to trap her. And this is something I've noticed that some of the teams are starting to do, is when they initiate a trap, they go, oh, actually, we don't want this. We don't want to double team this ball. We want to keep the pressure on the ball carrier. And there's more pressure on the ball carrier if there's only one of us defending them at this time. Because they don't know where to go. And they're going to be more likely to cough it up. And let me take it back to this situation here. Okay, and I'll freeze it right where. Okay, because we've got 2, 2. We've got the intended receiver of the outlet pass, potentially. Is 25 being trapped in this moment? That's the question. And there we go. Is only a single defender, does that mean that's not trapping? Yeah. You can't be trapped by one person. Let's look at the... hang on. Let me turn this off for a second. And this is the actual thing. And let's go to... Okay, let's see if I can get to the trapping parts of this. This is going to be a little more delicate. So what I've pulled up here is the FIH indoor briefing. This is a really important document that everybody who umpires indoor absolutely has to read. And I mean, it's got more information than the rule book does. Okay, but here is trapping of the ball. Okay. And so you can see that a player in possession of the ball may not be trapped either in the corner of the pitch or against the sideboards by opponents with their sticks flat on the floor. It's not stated clearly that that is unequivocally more than one person, but you can certainly draw the inference that it wouldn't be plural if it was only a single person, because it would say a player in possession may not be trapped against the sideboard by an opponent with their stick on the floor. Because in a one-on-one situation, I think, certainly not in my skill set, but in other players' skill sets and most, you'd be expected to be able to do something with only one defender in front of you. Okay. Yes, it is very, very confusing in that moment. Let me just make sure that there's no other, as we go to the other trapping things. Here are all the examples of what trapping is in a diagrammatical sense, which seems really helpful until you realize that players don't just stand still. So we've got, three little components there where we've got, most frequent trapping. There is the one over on the side near the, I guess, potentially the center line. I'm not really sure what that is supposed to indicate, except for an attacking trap. That I have the ball and I'm pushing the ball against the boards because I'm protecting it against a defender who's trying to gain access to it. So I'm obstructing that defender from playing it by using the boards as a shielding action. But technically, really, my stick is doing all the shielding. So that's not trapping. But the other examples, there's two sticks. Okay, so that's another one. Channels and all that sort of thing. And you can see on this slide, this is where it says, the player in possession, if the player in possession makes no effort to pass to their colleagues, even though a channel's been created by the team in possession, the stalemate, and to award a bully here, it's recognized the defenders benefit from this as the ball is taken out of the circle. What they don't say is, do not do that. They don't say, you must award a penalty corner. They just give this passive-aggressive language, and this is why I really don't like the way that the briefing's worded. It needs to be fixed. Okay? But it's all about
down the left-hand
two
side,
players coming
much
in.
More like it from them.
Okay? So if I come back to our replay. I have done drills several times. I don't have any drills to talk about today, but did I even do any last week? I don't know. It's pretty easy. For review for you, we're looking at the ball being played hard from a close distance, which is less than 3 meters, within the body of a player. So if the ball is sent outside of the body, we do not protect the stick. We only protect the body because the stick feels no pain. So if anybody's giving you information that if a player is leaning out with their stick or they have their stick extended away from their body and the ball is sent hard from a close distance into that, that is not drilling. The stick cannot be in danger. Did I do drilling last week? And yeah, so I've done several other indoor videos. A really good way to do that, and Mick, can you tell me your real name, please? Or give me a pronounceable name that I can pseudonym you by? Go to the YouTube, go to my FH Umpires YouTube channel homepage and search for drilling. And just enter that in the search bar, not in the YouTube search bar, because then you'll get a whole bunch of other people and they're not as fun as me. Go to the channel search bar, enter in drilling, and maybe indoor as well. And then you will get all of my Michael. Thank you. Yeah, maybe I did it. And yes, in the body line is what you understand. And that should be it. Because within the body line, that's where your hands are most likely to be. I mean, if your hand is stretched really far out and then, you manage not to do a good job in receiving that ball because you've overextended your stick, that's kind of on you. It's when the ball is being sent at you, because it's not just your hands, it's your feet, it's your teeth, it's your ribs, it's your beautiful face, it's all those things. Okay? So within the parameters of what we currently understand and what has been briefed, I agree that this is not trapping and that a goal is properly awarded here. What's difficult is that this is the kind of scenario that I don't think is really covered in the briefing. It's not covered in our understanding because players are starting to cotton on to the idea that trying to trap a player is dumb. It doesn't work. And I really noticed it in the women's tournaments that they were making the intentional choice to fluctuate, to waver, to change their press in certain situations in order to try to do, as I said before, force that defender, to force the ball carrier to do something constructive with the ball when they didn't feel comfortable and that there wasn't a clear option for them. Kind of like the way that the rest of the game is played. So there you go. Oh yeah, but yeah, don't do any searching now. I don't want my AVD to go down. Okay. Any other comments on that? Let's see. You wanted to see how other parts of the world interpret because you umpire a lot of players of the World Cup for Australia and they yeah. Well, they might be there might be domestic umpires who aren't aligning with international standards. And one of the big reasons I do what I do is I'm trying to get everybody onto a universal standard, a universal expectation. This is what it should be. There is no Australian interpretation. There's no Canadian. There's no Czechian. This is the standard. This is hockey. End of story. And what that takes is a lot of communication, a lot of work by all of us around the world to get all of that on board and to get in all this education and to agree. So I do this by conversation a lot, but there is a lot of, I'm kind of cajoling everybody into understanding that, hey, if this is what we've agreed to, then this is how we should be interpreting and applying this rule. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know what this is. I hope it's all come. And you're absolutely right. It's one rule book. It's one briefing. And if you want to get me ranting, there's nothing better than to tell me, well, that's not what it says in the Dutch rule book or something like that. And then I'll be like, oh, come here. Bang. And I'll start talking and ranting about that. Okay. I don't have a lot of announcements today, but I do want to point out this show and every show is brought to you by me. And it's brought to you by my courses. Because this is how I support myself so that I can continue to give all this free education on this YouTube channel and out in the world when I decide that I'm going to contribute on a forum, which is very seldom these days because it's not very constructive. And between the courses and the FHU 3-team membership, this is how I can do what I can do and continue to serve the community and how we get better as a group. So I do have an indoor comprehensive course and I have an updater as well. So if you feel very comfortable with your general level of indoor knowledge, but you're like, yeah, I don't really know what's been happening the last couple of years. I've been out of it a little bit, or I really want to confirm what international standards are, then give the indoor updater a shot. But if you follow that QR code and you go to the site and you can navigate around, I use confusing terms that I think I'm going to be changing from comprehensive to intensives. I like the CZEvs. Yeah, what can I say? CZEvs are fun. And yeah, but that's what they are. A full course and an updater course. Let's see. Okay. I did. Well, that's not very effective. Since I can see that chat. Let's see if I can do this on the fly. I think it's this. There we go. I think that's the link. But the QR code's going to take you there, and you're all on your mobile. You're all watching me on a 42-inch screen, right? My goodness, I hope not. There we go. Okay. Let's chug along. Chug along. Oh boy. Mikhail, if you're still here.
The angles. Slavinska stepping in, gets herself out of the way. Spain now go one-on-ones. Enough of a touch. Oh, what a finish that is! Off the angle. Brilliant from Pachame, the youngster, just 18 years old, has picked it and slingshots it in the goal.
Pachame, brilliant, brilliant. She's preparing herself early for the shot. She's got one thing on her mind, and it's I'm going to have a go at this. And she does exactly that. She gathers so much space on this ball, and she's beating a goalkeeper in fine form at a near post here. She just catches her off guard. I don't think she can see Rybacker's in the way.
Yeah, agree.
So I didn't mean for this to be clickbait, but I wanted to start off with an example of how a player can one-time the shot and not hit the ball. This is not hitting the ball. This is the most beautifully executed one-time collection and flick of the ball that you can imagine, because there is no or very, very limited gap between where the ball is picked up by the stick and where it is picked up onto the stick and pushed, scooped, flicked. There's the whole picking up of the ball onto the stick, and then the what do we call that? Swivel, pendulum, whatever. That motion, somebody tell me what that motion is, of the stick to fling the ball, to push the ball in space up into the goal. It is perfect. Fulcrum? Yeah. That could be it. Okay. This one, not so much. So if you... The sound isn't the only indicator, of course. But for me, one of the challenges that we're now seeing very often is the players are pretty good as they're passing the ball around. Although if you play for Austria, apparently you can just do a slap, you know, an upright slap, like an ice hockey style slap all around the court, and it's all fine. I had the clip and I took it out, and because it just wasn't very positive. But man, those were terrible, terrible non-pushes. They were definitely hits. But when the player is one-timing the ball and they're looking to change its direction, frequently on a shot, sometimes on a pass, in order to change the ball's direction, because you're absorbing this force and you're trying to send it off into another direction with a greater amount of force, players take more of a backswing into this. So let me go into... Hang on, let me make sure I got the right clip up here. So here we are. I'm gonna literally manually scroll. Now you can see as the ball is approaching that the setup by the player, she starts to move her stick back from the ball. Okay, this is the moment right before the ball is struck. Is this 50 centimeters? It's close. And to me, the shot is a particularly it's a particular time where the advantage given to the shooter, if they are able to impart more force upon the ball and potentially cause more danger to defenders, it's magnified in a shooting situation more so than it even is in a passing situation. Because the difference is, like, that's a couple of centimeters of extra pace or extra direction makes the difference between the ball scoring or the ball being saved. End of story. Okay. So for Rachel's looking at this, saying that this is a hit. Thank you. I mean, sometimes I do feel like I don't know. Michael's saying that's far too long of a distance as well. Pendular. Is it a pendulum? Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I had to pull out an ice hockey. It looks exactly like ice hockey. I'm like, oh, okay. I know what sport she played before she came to this particular arena. But there you go. Okay, is that 3C? No, this is 3C.
Captain Fenya Popper. There's the target. Fenya Popper goes underneath. What a finish that is Boller steps through it, body weight transfer, drives it down the middle of the goal. Germany 5, Czechia 0.
Well, this is just a simply brilliant, brilliant slick routine from Germany. I mean, look at the pace of the injector, look at the pace of the slip. The goalkeeper is absolutely nowhere near. And again, I think we saw a similar goal from Boller in one of the games yesterday where she just flicks it off the front of it's like a flick off the wrist, isn't it?
So what I think the challenge is here is that all the examples we have of hitting in the briefing, for example, and what we often look at and what we study are situations where the ball is relatively stationary in front of the ball carrier, the player in possession. And in order to direct the ball, they backswing and then they push the ball. And we can see the 50 centimeters very easily. When we have a situation like this, instead, where the ball is being sent towards the player, then do we take into account how much of a movement this way the stick goes? Because there is an entire as the ball is approaching, now we're looking at a gap that is right. Let's see if I can freeze it right at the moment. Okay. She is now moving the ball toward, or the stick towards the ball from here. Okay. And because the ball is going into this area here, that's what we're measuring. Now, if that's fewer than 50 centimeters, my next question is that whole 50 centimeters thing the best way, or is it the only factor that we look at in order to determine whether something is a hit? Because that's a hit. Like, there's no, the ball springs off the stick immediately. The energy that's imparted to the ball is an oppositional force that causes the ball to spring off extremely quickly. Whereas a push, there's a sustained contact of the ball. And if I go to the rules of hockey, and let's see if I can find this easily. Sorry. This is going to take a couple seconds. Okay, there it is. So we've got a little bit of the definitions. Push. Okay. The pushing definition doesn't help us out a lot here because it talks about pushing the ball along the ground using a pushing movement. What's a pushing movement? Well, to me, there is contact, a sustained contact between the ball and the stick. Because otherwise, just if you take off the word pushing, because that's a circular reference, it doesn't help us determine what a push is if you use the word in the definition. So moving the ball along the ground, using a movement of the stick after the stick has been placed close to the ball. Okay, that's where we get the 50 centimeters from, but what is that movement? And a push, if I push a door open, if I just take my hand and I bang it into the door, I'm hitting the door open. I'm not pushing it open. If I put my hand on the door and I have that sustained contact, that is what we're looking for. If anybody wants to pop open the an Oxford Dictionary or Merriam or I don't know, somebody reputable, I would love to see what you've got for that sort of thing. Okay, but for me, that doesn't feel like a actual there. Michael, look at the angle of the stick when she made contact with it. Okay, let's look at that because I want to see if that truly does help us. And so what is it about the angle that you want us to look at? What's meaningful there? Okay. Yeah, slap shot.
Folding cover.
Oops. The S lady was having a conversation with me. She's very helpful, but not when I'm live streaming. Okay, but what is the angle is what I'm asking. That's the question. Oops. This back angle here. Okay, so her stick is perpendicular up until this point. And then, oh, so what you're looking at is this, so that she's chipping underneath the ball. That's another, actually, thank you. See, now that I've sorted that out, this is why words are important. And I know that it's hard when you're trying to type within 200 characters on a YouTube chat. But yes, the manner in which, and this is where you get all the smacking sound, and how a player can, without sustained contact on the ball, lift it into the air, is because her stick face is angled underneath the ball. Those are the words. Oh yeah, that's a great spot, Michael. That really helps. So in terms of a shooting action, that gives us something else to look at as well. The undercut. Yes, yes. Okay, there you go. Oh, you're good. You're good. Okay. Good stuff. Here's the last one. Sorry, Mikkel.
Chance now. Middle castle. Once in. What a slap that is. Wasn't flicked first time. They didn't expect that. It's the touch in. It's the sliding slap that goes straight down the middle. I didn't think there was enough time to execute it.
I don't think I've seen any, well, we certainly haven't seen this so far in the tournament. It's absolutely allowed. It's beautifully delivered. It's Argulo again. She helps create this corner opportunity, and she's the one that steps up and finishes beautifully.
What do you think, Mikkel? I mean, I know what you call it
to
in the
see,
moment,
that's for
but
certain,
when you see it now,
very effective, straight under the on-rushing goalkeeper.
The first words that came out of Mason and Maddie's mouths, what a slap. Well, what's a slap? we saw it in the definitions there, that a slap is a hitting motion on the ball. Okay, so that's not definitive, but the fact that the emotive reaction there was that. So we're gonna have a look at this one. And let's see. Oh, I have it queued up. Excellent. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to go very slowly. Oh, my head's in the way. That's not gonna work out very well. Let's do that. Very on the edge. That's like 2 meters of distance. Just because she manages to make not audible contact, because she makes that very softly, just because the ball is close to her stick here doesn't mean that she hasn't swung more than 50 centimeters back that way. Okay. That's absolutely. And the only reason it didn't sound loud is because of where the ball was placed, close to her feet. That is a practice skill meant to disguise what is a hit, I think. It's okay. Like, you wouldn't have expected this. Just like Maddie said, we haven't seen this skill because it's not allowed in indoor. But if somebody tries something that you've never seen before, this is one of the reasons why we look at these things. So we're like, oh, so how do we apply the things that we know to novel situations? How do we parse out the facts and put that into play when we actually see the scenario there? Does that make a difference? So now we're gonna parse out whether it's the top part of the stick or the mid part of the stick, or it's the toe of the stick, or the hook part of the stick, has to be far away. That certainly isn't parsed out in the rules. Is the ball pushed? So do we have sufficient, does the 50 centimeter rule give us sufficient information? Is it an applicable criterion? I'm absolutely willing to ask this to ask this question. Does that make sense, Mikkel? I'm curious, is that to you because she used the upper part of her stick closer to the handle to play, that the backswing isn't that far? And if it's not that far, is that all we need to look at? Does she still gain sufficient advantage because there isn't really a sliding or a pushing motion in the sense of sustained contact on the stick? When I saw this at the time, I was like, oh my God, that's a hit. Like, just flat out. And now I'm questioning and I'm doubting. And I think it's an important conversation to have, because again, players are smart and they find ways to poke little holes in the stupid little catchphrases that we use in order to make our decisions on the pitch easier. And they're like, haha, but my stick wasn't 50 centimeters away because part of my stick was closer to the ball. The toe of my stick absolutely was a meter away. But that's not what I used to play the ball with, so then it's okay.
Unique about this.
Is that the loophole we're looking for?
Happens
Okay.
every 20 or 30 years, because that is about the length of the
Fascinating stuff, hey? Like, just... And that's what is so amazing and infuriating about indoor at the same time, is that we have these technicalities that we can get really, really bogged down in, and big decisions turn on those technicalities. And I'm not sure how we can, I'm not always confident how we can better serve the game in terms of keeping it safe, keeping it fair, keeping it flowing, keeping it exciting, without, you know, do we go in favor of very technical, strong interpretations, or do we just go, as long as nobody dies, it's fine? So there you go. Didn't they at the recent World Cup begin to blow a lot of sliders, deception passes? Well, actually, let's have a look at this, because there is a if I go to the playing of the ball, raise ball, raise ball, raise ball, just give me a sec. Playing the ball in the air, penalty corners, danger, drilling. The indoor briefing is very, very long, which is kind of one of those things that makes you think, huh, do we really need this super long briefing? Wait, I wrote this down somewhere. Oh, it's way at the front. 12 or 9. Okay. Hold, please.
Rohoff tries to force it into the circle. Rohoff tries to force it into the circle.
So you can certainly argue that that was a very similar motion. The backswing is very large, but the ball wasn't very far away from him when he played it. And in the briefing, they no likey.
Australia literally chasing shadows at the moment. Patrick Stanzel was in and out in a flash. Oh, a hit into the D. Obvious that time, and Ben Gonchkin had
Their
no
clips aren't as good as mine.
qualms in turn.
So if I can pull back right to this moment. Okay. So the distance between I don't know if I can get the annotation up here. Oops. Hang on. Hold, please. So what I'm trying to show is the difference between the... No, show me what's on Ecamm. Show me what's on Ecamm. So the ball is fewer than 50 centimeters away from where his hand is right now at the top of his stick. But the backswing away from it is the full length of the stick. So do you see that? Which then means to me, I don't know why it's not hooking up to Ecamm, but that's okay. Which that to me is an indicator. See, look how close his hands still are when he's coming to play the ball, but he gains the advantage of all that force, and there is very little of that sustained contact with the ball as it goes through. Michael, you are being very, very valuable in this.
Ball fired against the boards on the far side, Dutch forward.
And that is a very different situation. Okay. So does that help? Does that help to sort of solidify what we're looking at in that situation? So if we take a very strict sort of literal definition or application of how far away the stick is from the ball, and we say, well, the stick is there, but not the entire stick, not the furthest length of the stick, then it's safe. So on a postcard, I would love to talk about this one further. This is intriguing to me. And come into the server and have a chat with me about it. Mikhail especially, like, send me a DM if you feel more comfortable and let me know. And especially if you got briefed afterwards, if you got debriefed and there was a conversation and the team came to a different conclusion, I'd love to hear it. Let's move on to our next topic. Here's our skill session. How am I doing for time? Oh my God, it's 1:19. Okay. I'll try to do this quickly. So every week we're doing a little segment where I talk more about the skills that we use for umpiring. And this topic came to me out of a debrief session that I did with one of our umpires, who will go unnamed at this moment, unless he decides to come forward. And one of the challenges that I have, and one of my big priorities, is to be able to arm you with the tools and the techniques and the tactics you can use in order to improve your own umpiring performance. One of the challenges that we have as umpires when we go out there, and this is something that struck me down countless times during my own career, was that I would go out onto the pitch after, for example, having done a 6-month indoor season. And then it's my first game of outdoor, and I go out there and I am rusty AF. I am so bad. My positioning's off, everything's out the window. I'm like, who is this person? Why is this happening to me? And when you're in performance situations where you're being assessed, where you're being coached, where you're at a tournament and you need to come out of the gates strong, you need to be at your best because you want to show those UMs, this is what I can do. And you want to show them that in that very first game. How do you do that? So one of the challenges this umpire was experiencing as we were debriefing this match is that their positioning wasn't where they wanted to be. It was just a little off. So this particular umpire is excellent at MCP, just fucking fabulous. Not so much in this game, which was the first after having done indoor for a couple of months. And I'm like, yeah, I just felt uncomfortable and I don't know, and I didn't see it and I didn't know how to fix it. And so it reminded me of a video that I saw, and I want to just apologize very, very profusely for not having thought in the moment that this was going to become an obsession. I was somewhere on the socials, and if I describe this to you and you're like, I know what Keely's talking about, I'm gonna go find her the link, I would be so excited if you did so. For some reason, I got a rugby referee clip coming up in my feed, whether this was an Instagram reel or a YouTube short or a TikTok or a Facebook, I don't even know where it was from. And it was showing this obviously top level rugby referee doing some training. And so his buddies were off, I think, doing some stretches, running around the track, doing something like that. But this referee had taken himself onto the pitch, onto this empty rugby pitch. And he was talking to himself. He was just moving about the pitch, and he was visualizing common scenarios that I imagine happen in the rugby. I wouldn't know. Don't know anything about rugby. And he was rehearsing with himself how he would respond if this rucked wrong, or this ball got kicked in the wrong way. And he was imagining talking to the players and out loud doing it. And then he would say a phrase and say, didn't like that. And then he would try it again and he would say it differently. But he was moving about on the pitch whilst he was doing this. And at the time I watched it and I thought, oh, that's kind of an interesting thing. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Is this the piece? Is this a piece that we're missing from our umpiring preparation? So my idea here is a combination of using your own video of your debriefed matches, which is something that we do in the FHE3T yellow community. When you're getting ready to go back into a situation, or even if you're just preparing for your next match, is to be able to look at yourself on video doing the thing awesome. Doing your positioning and your movement patterns the way you want. Presenting yourself confidently the way you want. Listening to yourself on the radios, speaking to the players effectively, concisely, well-timed, in the right way. Combine that with when you go out to the pitch. Maybe, can you find an area of the pitch? Can you find the pitch empty so you can go out onto it and you can move on the pitch in the patterns and visualize the play moving around and going over here and going over there. And oh, I'm going to turn and I'm going to go and then I'm going to rotate back and I'm going to start backpedaling and I'm going to get into my happy place and I can do all those things. Let's take our practice and our training and preparation up about 30 dozen notches and use the tools that we have, including something that is very basic. And maybe you can't get on that turf. Maybe you're on the grass field next door that is empty, or maybe you're in the parking lot. Maybe you're in a gymnasium before you go outside and you're visualizing the play moving in certain ways. Combine that with actual footage of yourself. I think that would be really, really powerful. So it must have been a trailer or like a clip from it, because I haven't watched the whole episode, the whole documentary yet. But there you go. But you have seen it. Okay, that's fantastic. Show interstitial falls. Okay. That is awesome. And yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Okay. And that's the thing. Like, we always do this. And I know because I've done it myself. Except as I got further and further along in my career, I made those mistakes a lot less. And why was that the case? Did I have the ability to access a richer data set that showed me I was able to go back and go, oh, I remember that time last season where it was the first time in outdoor and I called a lifted ball? And because I'm old and I've got this past experience, I don't do that anymore. For me, the indoor and the outdoor game are just so nicely separate, not a problem. What was challenging for me this season, I hadn't umpired any indoor. We usually, our indoor season starts in like late September, early October, and it's still going strong now, and it won't end until the end of March. The end of March. So it's a very long season. But I hadn't been out to umpire yet until, I don't know, a month ago. And I was obsessing in the days leading up, and I was imagining myself applying mission critical positioning to indoor. And I was sorting out to myself, okay, how does it look again? Because mission critical positioning for me in indoor is a newer thing. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about when I talk about mission critical positioning, this is what I'm talking about. Let's see if it comes up. There it is. Okay. This is an outdoor oriented course, but in the indoor courses that I offer, I do talk about applying MCP principles inside on the court. And I was so focused on getting those details right when I went out onto the court on that first day that I was really happy. I was really happy at where I was generally, other than the fact I'm old and slow. But the rest of it, like the intention of the execution was really, really good. So I think this is a piece that we can add to our umpiring preparation, training, repertoire. And I'd like to hear, are you going to try this? And what are you going to use? What kind of techniques are you going to use? Do you have any video to use? If you don't have video to use, come into the server and we'll talk about how you can find ways to get video of yourself. Get your best friend just to go stand on the hill and video you. Like, it doesn't have to, with their phone, it doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to have video cameras. You don't have to have GoPros and, hung up on the fence. Like, you don't have to be at the international level and have all the multiple angles. You just have to have something that helps you connect the kinetic sensation of you moving around with what you actually see. Because so many people, when they see themselves on video for the first time, go, is that what I do? Including this girl. So the more video you get, the more you see yourself, the better you're going to be able to implement with intentionality best umpiring practices the way that you want. And that, my friends, is our skill session for the week. Michael, you prefer indoor over outdoor. It's a lot more technical. Yeah, and maybe you like the technical. For me, I'm kind of like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like both formats, but I find myself more drawn to outdoor because it's got more dynamicism of pacing. I like indoor when it gets really slow and weird and stops, and everybody else is like losing their shit. Like, oh, she's not moving the ball. It's terrible. And I'm like, this is great, because when it changes, you're then, whoa, it's the dynamics of the situation, not just the go, 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 go. So for me, outdoor is the sweet spot. Indoor starts to get a little singular paced, mono-paced. And then hockey fives is just nothing. There's no dynamics in it whatsoever. It's just go for 10 minutes, go for another 10 minutes, go for, and you're just like, okay, well, that's not very interesting at all. It's not interesting. You need the ups and downs. I've said that before. Okay. Let's see. Slightly different rules and regs. I don't know where that. And oh yeah. So signaling the wrong way after halftime. Part of your halftime talk to yourself can be, all right, I've now talked to my colleague. I've had my drink of water. We know what we're going to do on the control elevator. We're all up on the same page. It's like, all right, yep, tweet, come on, everybody, let's go. You're whistling the players back out onto the pitch. And as you're walking, you say, white goes this way, blue goes this way. Build a habit for yourself that prepares you for that moment. And stack that habit and associate it with your double whistle and your walk out onto the pitch to your starting position for the center pass. Blue goes this way, white goes this way. I just reversed it. Did you notice? Okay. There you go. Skill session. Okay. It's Mini Keeley hour. Pulling the ball out of the air.
But Rutenberg, she came out with that, kind of put a stick
Lovely.
a foot behind the ball. In we go. Opportunity across and
Oh, what a save!
That is a genius pick on the line. Stunning from Kolarova. Inside ball, cross field, in and through, back, out, first time ball in. Marine Delforge gets a shot away.
This is simply brilliant from Kolarova. She's constantly staying in it, and she turns, adjusts, and sees the shot on goal and just gets enough on it.
So, no dispute on this one for me. This is this is the opposite to the lead clip from last week, where the ball there was hit fully out of the air, directionality in opposition to the direction that the ball came. In order to make a save, your stick isn't going to be stationary. And we get ourselves into a little bit of trouble when we talk about stick to ball or ball to stick and that sort of thing, which is phraseology in the briefing, which gets a little deceptive. So I'm going to start queuing that up already because I know we're going to end up talking about that. Raise ball, raise ball, raise ball. Okay, it's going to be there. There we go. Okay, I'm already ready for when we go there. But one of the problems we had in this tournament is that...
Spin out Pachame, lovely
That's
little reverse
nice.
stick ball in. That'll be the rotation up. That's a really powerful reverse. That's played in the air. Well,
the voices in the
being
sky
allowed,
don't know the
happy
rules.
that it had died on the court. So the rule is that you can't play the ball in the air, is my understanding. The little reverse pop up down there.
Yeah, Marta Grau with that little reverse thing is a good one.
The rule is not that you can't play the ball in the air.
It in.
Oops. The rule is that you can play the ball in the air under very controlled, specific situations. So let's find them. Right here. So 9-10, players must not play the ball when it is in the air, except it would have been really great if any time I'd heard the word except come out whenever these situations were described. Except that a player from the team which did not put in the air may stop it. And also accept. And I hate the way this is written because the italicized guideline should just be, it should have been except colon A. A player from the team which did not put the ball in the air may stop it. Or B, if the ball is in the air as a result of a legitimate shot at goal, which is rebounded from the goalkeeper, defender, or from the goal post or crossbar, the ball may be stopped by a player of either team. Okay, so now we've got like an A and a B and maybe like an I and a II situation of subclauses. The way this is phrased is just not very helpful. But this is it. So this situation, as we go back, 5. Okay, this is a legitimate shot on goal, rebound off a goalkeeper. And this is the teammate of the goalkeeper who is allowed to take the ball, not by playing it directionally, but she's allowed to keep her stick still, not control the ball, but just to allow the ball to hit her stick and then for her to continue playing. Let me go back to this. And as I pull up the briefing, so they've used this phraseology in the briefing: stick to ball is an offense, ball to stationary stick, no offense. Sorry. There's no offense to it. Okay. And when you look at this example here, which is a classic, you can see the Austrian player very confused. This is back at the Indoor World Cup before the most recent one. Is actively taking a stick and trying to control the ball. That is not permitted. Okay. However, if the Austrian player just sat with his stick stationary and let the ball come to it and hit it, that would have been okay. I don't know if you can hear the yes lady saying things. Just so ridiculous. Okay, so we can look at a different example here. There we go.
There's the
That's
space.
a real
And
powerful
see how we
drive
apply
into
it
the goalkeeper, goes
in
for
different
the lob up.
situations. So a slightly different fact scenario. This is an opposition player. And what I'm interested in here is whether there might have been, in this case, more of a directionality applied by the attacker here. Because in real time, this player gains a bit of an extra advantage because she picks up the ball and continues after the first contact to play it forward. And if she does so right from the ground, maybe it's okay, but it puts the Polish defenders in a tougher situation to defend. Okay, I'm not saying for sure because we can't really see from this angle. I don't know, but it's something to consider in this case about all that.
Now it's 3-on-2. She cuts the middle of the pitch. There's the ball into the middle. Little diagonal ball on the way through. What a finish that is. Well, it's got to be the first ball that was lifted then. Just because she's played it, that first ball, is this in the circle as it's touched? That to me,
Just
just
outside.
but that should be blown as a lift because then the player can't play the ball.
Incorrect. The player can play the ball. She can, because she's not of the team that put the ball up in the air. But what she can't do is play it out of midair and shoot on the goal. She could allow that ball to hit her stick and then wait for the ball to come to rest on the court, or just wait for the ball to be on the court. I shouldn't say it rest because that implies stationary, which is not what we're looking for in this case. But she can't one time it out of the air into the goal, which is what she did. Okay. Oh, I've been missing some comments, I have a feeling. Oh, I have missed many, many comments. There you go. Okay, back to our skills session discussion. You really concentrate in Q3, and that's, yeah, absolutely. So if you grease the wheel before you've even blown the time, that might even be good. There you go. You think of your first PC. When you check the goal, you take 5 seconds in your happy place and you visualize that. I love that. That's a great skill. I love that. Terrific. I agree. Yeah, accept. Yeah, you can't play the ball. You can't directionally play the ball in any direction, including down onto the court or off to the side to pass it. So it's difficult. And I think a lot of players simply just wait for the ball to come to rest because they want to be able to put some directionality onto it. And yeah, you're saying that there she goes. And yes, in this case, she's absolutely deciding to play the ball towards the goal. She can't trap it down, right? So that goes back to the example here. Let's see if I can pull that up. Okay. I just showed this to you, Michael. Come on. Yeah. So that is a trapping of the ball down. Can't do it that way. You can only let the ball hit your stick. Okay. You're on board. You're on board. I like it. Okay. I know, I'm really finicky about the bad words, aren't I? There you go. Okay, but just an absolute spot on correct call. And I think in this situation, the question is then, well, should we be playing advantage off that raised ball? And let's just see if I can, as I study that was inside the circle. So the question is there, should that come back to a penalty corner because of the raise that disadvantaged the attacker? Or does the attacker have better options being in a one-on-one situation with a goalkeeper who is coming down and there's nobody else in the way? And I think playing advantage is a reasonable, it's close. You're looking for a better possession and an opportunity to do the scoring thing than if you blow the whistle for the penalty corner. That's what you're looking for the advantage there. And did that exist there? With the goalkeeper coming and sliding full out, all she had to do was let the ball hit the stick, and then as it comes down to the court, maybe do a reverse curl and spin the ball into the goal. I say all she had to do. Like, that would have been so easy. Obviously, she just does that. You can tell I'm not. I have an overestimation of that sort of thing. So, yeah. So it could have been advantage. Had Camille come back for the penalty corner, I wouldn't have been surprised either. That would have been okay. It was pretty close. But had the advantage been given, it's up to the player to do their best with it instead of do their worst with it. That's how it works. Okay. Not too bad. 12 minutes overtime. Given that I went through about 17 clips, that was pretty good. But we didn't do polls, and that's what we usually do. Next week, okay, let's just, now that my AVD is going to be screwed anyway, let's just talk about what's happening next week. I'm going to be having a special guest here in this place, because Mike McDowell is going to be stopping through Calgary on our way down to New Zealand next week. So Mike has agreed that he's willing, as long as he's not deliriously jet lagged, to join me on the live stream. We're going to probably pull up a few social media indoor things and maybe a little bit from the club championship, which starts tomorrow on Eurohockey TV. Remember, that will be included with your Eurohockey TV package, which everybody bought because I told you to, and y'all do what I tell you to do. Put your money where your hockey is, where your heart is. Your indoor hockey's day heart. Okay? So y'all bought the package, so you all have access to the European Club Indoor Eurohockey Indoor Club Championship. So we'll do a little bit out of that, but there's like a metric shit ton of Pro League games happening as well, and I'm trying to watch a few of them and to pull some interesting things out of those that we can learn from as well. So working on that for next week. And then that night, we get on the plane to go down to New Zealand. So what am I going to do for content while I'm down there? I don't know. Come into the server and tell me, what are you interested in finding out about, as Mike McDowell, Mike McCartney, Ben Burton, Shane McNee, and Stephen Dyerberg, and myself all participate in the New Zealand Masters Championship. Nationals, Masters. Did I say all the right words? Probably not in the right order, though. What do you want to know about the 2 weeks that I'm going to spend in New Zealand after that? Touring around. Tell me what content you think is going to be useful and what you want to know. I have a feeling I'm going to be doing lots of spontaneous vertical lives in YouTube, in the YouTubes, which I may then share out to Instagram and Facebook and the X. I don't know what's going to happen. Matt, you're going to be cheering on Wimbledon. Nice to hear. Nice to hear. That's going to be very good. Oh, yep. You're going to tell me about some good. I want to know that. You want proof the toilet water spins in the other direction. Have you Googled it? Just saying. Have you Googled it? Because I think that proof is, just saying. It's there. If that's the content you're looking for, well, the bar is not very high for me, is it? Good to know. Oh, well, that's your first mistake, because I am on the internet. So if you haven't realized that this is internet and you shouldn't trust me either, then I got some bad news for you. Okay. So that's what's coming up. Please join us in the Discord server. If you have not already joined, we're going to do our post-stream tease. It's going to be short for me because I'm going to start the 2:00 watch party for the Pro League very soon. But just come into general and just be like, Keely, this is what I want to know about New Zealand Masters hockey, and this is the kind of stuff you should be doing. Tell me what to do because I tell you what to do every week here on What Up Wednesday. So get your revenge. Thanks for joining in today. I love being able to go through lots of indoor stuff with you because it's a brain, it's that. Okay. And we'll see you on Discord and see you next week. Thanks for being here.